Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon, and welcome to another Life Update Casual Chat video. Today is Sunday, September 8th, to check my calendar, and a lot has happened. As always, it seems like, boy, for my husband being unemployed, a lot sure is happening on the daily, it feels like. So let's jump into it. I'm going to give you an update. First of all, have you ever been in the position or the situation where your significant other freaks out so you don't really have the latitude or the freedom in order to freak out yourself? Well, that happened on Wednesday. We found out, well, first of all, we're losing our medical insurance through my husband's employer, which we paid a pretty penny for. I think we paid about $1,900 a month through payroll deduction to cover myself, our two children, and a portion of Jason's insurance. His employer, even though he was full-time, over 24 years, they didn't even pay for his medical insurance in full. So we paid a pretty penny. So when he lost his job, when he got laid off, we assumed that we would be able to apply for Affordable Care Act state health insurance. And we weren't wrong. That was the case. It is the case. We get to apply for that insurance, which I started this week. However, we did not know that we would have to pay a monthly premium for said insurance. Now, our other son, Mark, because he's on Medicaid, he has disability, his insurance is paid for already through the state. So we only have to insure Jason, me, and Nate. Now, Jason has type 2 diabetes, and I have psoriatic arthritis. Nate, fortunately, knock on wood, doesn't have any health issues. He's only 19, though. So I'm not saying give him time. I'm just saying Jason and I are more mature. And so we do have some pre-existing health conditions. So the point is we can't go without insurance. We need it. In fact, the medication that I take, Otezla, is quite expensive. And real short story there, I have tried everything under the sun. I have been on methotrexate. I have been on Humira. I have been on Enbrel. I have been on Kineret. I have been on Xeljanz. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but unfortunately, I've had really profound side effects from some of those. In fact, I had lesions on the right side of my brain stem from both Enbrel and Humira. Yeah, that's another story. Anyway, suffice to say, we can't not have insurance. However, when I plugged in how much I make, which is part-time, and believe you me, it's not a whole heck of a lot, especially not in this economy, and we plugged in what Jason will be receiving in terms of unemployment benefits, because he will get an unemployment benefit each week that he submits a claim. We have to report that as income. Do you know how much we have to pay per month? Now, we qualify for a tax break because Jason is unemployed. So here's the thing. It was about $1,700 a month without the tax break. With the tax break, we're going to have to pay about $700 a month. Now, I figured this out on my own because Jason, I told him, hey, you handle your unemployment benefits. You apply for that. You do the weekly claim. I'll handle the health insurance issues because, well, I usually handle all the household stuff anyway. So I would have better access to everything we needed. So when I plugged it in and I saw that amount, I'm just like, oh boy, I knew it was going to go across like a lead balloon because I knew Jason was already struggling. He's been unemployed for a week now. Unfortunately, it takes a couple weeks before unemployment benefits kick in, and it's fine. We have savings, but we would rather not pull out of savings in order to survive until those unemployment benefits kick in. And here's why. We have an older car. We only have one car. Fortunately, we have a very low mortgage interest rate. We pay 2% because we paid cash out of pocket and refinanced during the pandemic. We didn't take cash out of our home. We didn't take out equity. We just refinanced the existing mortgage in order to go from, I think we were at a 7% down to 2%. So we have a nice fixed, pretty low mortgage housing cost, though our property tax, of course, keeps going up. So there are a lot of positives, and I kept reiterating that to Jason. Look, our car's paid off, but it is older, so we need to keep the money in the savings in case, something, God forbid, happens with that. Of course, our washing machine, our dryer, our fridge, they're all at the end of their lifespan. Our furnace is at least 30 plus years old. So suffice to say, I'm expecting some, lead boots to drop. And Murphy's Law, they'll probably all happen within a week. Oh gosh, I hope I'm not speaking this into existence. I'm not superstitious or anything, but I certainly am realistic. And so, like I said, I just want to keep that money in savings for things of that nature rather than sustaining us on a day-to-day basis. And so we don't keep secrets. I had to tell Jason. So I called him into my office, aka my little closet here, and I said, okay, now don't freak out. And mind you, between you and I'm freaking out while I'm telling him this. And I said, don't freak out. I have the budget. We're going to look at the budget together. And this isn't great, but I want to be real with you. And this is what we're looking at. And he, of course, freaked out. And the truth of the matter is, it's not a horrible thing. Because at least we have access to it. At least we can afford it. It just means our monthly budget is going to go from, okay, we're not desperate, we can breathe, to, ooh, it is so tight, it's going to squeak. So yeah, that didn't feel great. But we'll get through. And of course, Jason panicked. And of course, he's like, oh, I got to get a job. And I'm like, I gave him what I think, and sorry, I'm having a little hot flush here. Rather than allow him to continue to panic and spiral, and of course he has to get a job. Of course we need him to have a job. However, I gave him some advice that I think is really important for anybody. Him right now, myself when I'm under duress. It's so important to take yourself off the timer. You can never make a good decision when you're under duress, because then you're making a decision based on pressure. You're not making a decision based on good critical thinking, on situational awareness. And I told him, whatever you do, do not make a lateral move, because we could end up in this exact situation in a couple months, or worse. You could be miserable. Your anxiety could get worse. You could have horrible stress that could, cause your physical health to go downhill, and you just won't be happy. I would far rather, I don't want to say struggle, because I don't think we're going to struggle. I think this comes down to a lifestyle change for us. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I told him again today, this morning, this is as much an opportunity as it is a change that we are being forced to face. And by that, I mean, we weren't happy. Jason loathed his job. Where he was working was not the same place that he applied to work for, or even the job wasn't the same that he applied for 24 years ago. So this, while it doesn't feel good, when does change feel good? It's going to be a positive thing. But when he found out about the healthcare, the affordable healthcare that we're going to have to pay for, the premium, he freaked out. And I can't blame him, because again, truth be told, I freaked out. Because when I did our budget, when he got notice that he was going to be let go, I didn't factor that in. Honestly, I didn't think we would have a premium. I didn't know we'd be having to pay that on a monthly basis. What I did tell him, and I told myself, and I tried to remind myself that, again, this is an opportunity. I told Jason, don't make a lateral move. Take this opportunity to make a positive lifestyle change. And by that, I mean, let's try out living on this income for a little while we have no other option. And let's see how we do. Let's make some changes, because we weren't happy before. Maybe we can learn to live in a different way, making different changes in order to enable him to pursue personal goals, or maybe take a part-time job, or maybe take a job at a smaller studio that cares more about their employees, that cares more about the talents and of everybody involved, and cares more about putting out really fun products And you might make a little less money, but the quality of life in terms of the people you work with, the people you work for, and the products you put out there, your heart is in it and you enjoy it. And to me, there's value in that. And so he's listening to me. And, I told him, look, I'm doing the same thing. I mean, granted, yes, I have to work. I can only work part time and I can only work from home because somebody has to be here to take care of Mark. And yeah, you could consider, okay, Jason's not working. Jason could take care of Mark, but he would not be happy. And I, I just have the experience. I just think it's easier for me to continue doing that. Not, suffice to say, Jason has taken a huge load off of that in terms of helping bear that burden. I don't want to say my son's a burden. He's not a burden, but all of the satellite tasks, I guess you'd call it, around him, that can be a burden. Dealing with the Social Security Administration, dealing with the state, the Department of Development, what is it? I don't know. Developmental Disability Administration. I think that's what it stands for. We call it DDA as the acronym. So there's a lot of state paperwork. There's a lot of school paperwork because, well, there just is. So Jason is helping out a lot with that. But I'm just really encouraging Jason, don't make a lateral move. Take a deep breath. We're going to be fine. It's going to be squeaky tight, and that's okay. It's going to be squishy for a while. We have to be flexible. We have to be agile. And I said, but let's be careful to be intentional about how we respond to it and exploit all the opportunities there rather than just being reactive and jumping to another situation that may be even worse. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't, right? And right now we look at the numbers and we know it. It doesn't feel great, but we can be intentional in our responses to that. So how am I doing that? I'm continuing to work here on my YouTube channel. I am continuing to edit my book, which I actually have a new cover design. In fact, maybe I'll put a screenshot up here so you can see what the new cover looks like. I'm really proud of that. And I'm learning to make sourdough. Why? I don't need a hobby. I've got enough to keep me busy. But when I'm spending $7 or $6.99 for a loaf of sourdough bread and it's not even that good and it's loaded with preservatives, I'm thinking, oh, okay, fine. I'm gonna take this up. I'm gonna give it a shot. And so I went to the thrift store and I got some supplies for me to make some sourdough at home. I'm going to start my own starter here this week. We'll see how that goes. And you know what? I'm hoping that some homemade sourdough really elevates all the crock pot soups I'm going to be making coming up here. Why? Because they're cheap. They're cheap and they're easy. So if I have to put a little effort into making homemade sourdough, but it's cheaper, it makes my house smell good, and it tastes good, well, that's win-win, right? And it's cheaper. Oh, my goodness. The other thing I did is I want to make sure that our home is a place we really, really want to be and a place we really, really want to work. And as I've shared with you before, I took a previously unused corner of what was supposed to be our dining room, but we're not formal people at all. And so we weren't really using that room. And so I took a little corner and did me some secondhand shopping and made myself a little place that I call Cafe Corner. And I like to sit there and have tea in the morning. And I go there a lot to sit there and brainstorm. I can't be creative when I'm staring at the computer screen. And so I made a little area, and I'll throw a picture of it up here so you can see. Everything in that corner is purchased from a thrift store, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, except for the fake eucalyptus greenery on the wall. That was an Amazon purchase, and the carpet itself. We used to have a rabbit that chewed up all the carpet all along the wall, and it just bothered me every time I saw it. That poor bunny, he was a sweet little guy. He was a rescue. Found him in our backyard. Somebody dumped him. But it made me angry every time I saw all that carpet chewed up. And so I couldn't afford to recarpet one room, let alone the whole house, because it's all the same carpet. So what I decided to do, I'm going to cover it up. It was an opportunity, right? So I got that rug that you see in the picture for $20 off Amazon. I know it was a great deal. It's pretty, covers up. So I know the chewed up carpet is there, but I don't have to see it every day and be reminded of it. So I thought, okay, we all exploit that one little corner. How can I do that elsewhere in the house? And so, in response to how Jason and I were feeling about, the extra money going out every month for the healthcare premiums, and I apologize if you hear anything in the background. My husband is vacuuming the house for me, thank goodness. A little break from that for myself. I decided I've never liked the layout of our living room. We've been here for, let's see, my son was in second grade. We've been here for almost 11, 12 years now. And we've always had the living room arranged so that we had two recliners and a couch, and they were all pushed up against the wall, right? Just kind of assume that that's how you do it. I thought, no, I'm going to totally try something different. Jason and I have always wanted a library, just a room with books, a couple chairs to just sit and read. Something kind of serene. And that's never going to happen as long as we live here and as long as we have two kids here, because we have no more rooms. I thought that living room is big enough. I bet you I can, make a little area there and just turn it into a quote unquote library. Now, I didn't have a lot of money, obviously, because my husband's unemployed. But I ended up getting a email from a previous client years ago. We were really desperate. I worked as a webmaster. I created WordPress websites, and while I don't do any of that anymore, I have retained two clients that I keep on as favors. And he was desperate and he needed some work done ASAP. And long story short, I ended up making a quick $200 off that work last week, which was great and very unexpected. So what did I do? I set $100 aside, savings, and then I took that extra $100 and I bought some of the sourdough supplies that I mentioned earlier at the thrift store. And then the rest of the money, I decided, okay, this is the money I'm earmarking to making a library section in our living room. And so what I did is I took probably about a third of the room, and I'll put some pictures up so you can see, and I just really changed the layout. Instead of having the couch along the wall, I moved it so it kind of divided the living room area entirely. And my husband at first was very skeptical. He's like, really? You're going to do that? Are you sure? And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. The only piece of furniture I purchased right off the bat was a bookshelf, because we had a used bookshelf that we'd been using since we moved in that we bought off Craigslist for $20, but it was bowing. So it wasn't real sturdy to begin with. So I knew we needed to replace that. No time like the present, right? I essentially found an extra $200 because it was totally unexpected. So I bought a bookshelf, solid wood, $35 on Facebook Marketplace. I was thrilled, and it was only 5 minutes away to go pick it up. So I did that. And as soon as I had the bookshelf, I moved the couch, and I thought, okay, this is going to work. I'm going to get two chairs and a little table, and I'm going to make a little sitting area. And Jason goes and looks at the little space, and he says, are you sure? Are you sure? I said, yep, I'm going to do it. And you know what? Here's why. I would always rather try it and see that it doesn't work out, because what is no risk, no reward, right? And so I ended up, long story short, I'm going to put pictures up so you can see what I did this week. I loved it. Every single thing you see in that little library area is used. The two chairs, the white chairs with the, it's a real soft velvety fabric, chocolate brown. I paid $9 for each of those chairs at Habitat for Humanity. The little brown table, solid wood, in between the two chairs, $14 at Habitat for Humanity. And then up on the wall, it is a cast aluminum. So it looks like cast iron. It's not. It's cast aluminum, but it is metal. I don't know what it is. I think it's supposed to be an outdoor hanging decoration. I got it for $2, Habitat for Humanity. And what I actually did is I strung some fairy lights along the back. So in the evening, it's on a timer and it glows up against the wall. It looks awesome. And then in the top of everybody benefited from this, because on the very tippy top of the bookshelf, I put a used bath mat that I found. Now, I know that sounds gross, but just hear me out. It's a bath mat that's has that rubber grip on the back, and I put it on the top of the bookshelf because our kitty cats like to go up there. And it's great because, well, the grip on the back of the bath mat keeps it from slipping and sliding when the cats jump up there. And two, I can throw it in the washing machine and wash it. And again, it was only $2. But you know what? I haven't even had a chance to use the library yet, but everybody else has, and they love it. I often walk by the living room and I see my husband just sitting on a chair reading. The little table even has a drawer for his reading glasses, and our son Nate, 19, he wakes up and he goes and sits and reads. And I can't wait to watch the weather. I've always wanted a sunroom, and this is the closest I'm going to get, and frankly, it's probably the best because we have these huge windows, and I can sit on that chair and just look outside. I can watch the rain, I can watch the snow, I can watch the leaves fall, and I get to be inside where it's nice and warm. So again, that's just, sorry, I'm just rambling here. But that was my big win for this week. Yes, we were crushed by finding out we're going to have to spend $700 a month. Not great when you don't have a whole lot of income coming in. But even in the midst of that, there's been good, positive things, and I'm trying to, exploit and wring out every opportunity in this particular phase of life for us. So keep us in your thoughts. Send positive vibes my husband's way, and thank you to all of you who've reached out to encourage me, because I'm trying to have a positive attitude. I'm trying to see and exploit all the opportunities, and I'm trying to, not give up or not give into the doom and gloom, because it's very easy to do that. But you know what? When you do that, the farther you go down that hole, the more work you have to do to bring yourself back up. So I'm going to continue to be positive as much as I can. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope you'll stay tuned for later this week. I'm going to be sharing my first video about my writing process. I've had a few specific requests for that, and I'm excited. I'm almost ready to release my book with a new cover, not this one, but my goal is to release it later this month, and so I think I'm at a good point to start sharing that process. So until the next video, again, thanks so much for watching. Have a great week. Bye-bye.